What is up, everybody? It's Animac here for Anime Uproar and Horikoshi. What are you doing to us, bro? Poor Deku, this man can't catch a break. As Toga becomes even more unhinged and goes completely berserk with Sad Man's Parade, she may have just killed one of the most important hero students in the story. And what's worse, she may have just nuked the entire MHA shipping debate, and we need to talk about it right now. You guys know the drill. If you enjoy my MHA videos and you want to see more in the future, leave a quick like and comment right now. And if you're new to the channel or you watch my videos but you just haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, do me a huge favor and make this the video to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Seriously, we're pushing for 2 million subscribers here on the channel, so every subscription matters. Finally, this video will contain MHA manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. In the previous chapter, we got to see the aftermath of the fiery showdown with Dabi, and then we switched focus to the fight against Toga and Sad Man's Parade. Toga is committed to killing all the heroes in an act of revenge for Twice's death, and her mental state has been deteriorating rapidly throughout this final arc. As she becomes more and more unhinged, Sad Man's Parade continues to rage, and it seems to be overwhelming the heroes one by one. With most of the top heroes and hero students out of commission after the Dabi and All for One fights, the responsibility to stop Toga falls on Ochaco and a few other heroes and hero students. Ochaco knows that she can't stop Sad Man's Parade physically, she can't win through force alone, so she attempts to talk to Toga and to talk her down. She tells Toga that her feelings of hatred and her desire for revenge are clouding the purity of her love for her friends, and this is why she can't use the quirks of the other villains. Ochaco's words definitely have an impact on Toga, but not the kind of impact that Ochaco had been hoping for. Instead of calming down, Toga is infuriated by Ochaco's words. She tells Ochaco to shut up because she doesn't know the first thing about Toga. But as she says these words, Toga's Twice mask begins to fall apart, exposing part of her real face. This physical deterioration of her mask seems to reflect Toga's psychological deterioration, but now at least Ochaco knows which of the clones is the real Toga. The latest chapter begins with yet another twist as Toga reveals that she is holding Tsuyu hostage at knife point. Tsuyu was captured because she had already been injured back on Okuto Island, and so she wasn't able to dodge all those Twice clones in time. Ochaco calls out to Tsuyu and rushes to rescue her, but she is met by a furious Toga. Toga yells at Ochaco that her innocent heroism comes from the fact that she was born into an easy life, whereas Toga grew up as an outcast who was rejected by everyone, including her own parents. We see a flashback in which little Toga is crying after finding a dead bird in her backyard. Her parents find her there, and instead of trying to console her, they accuse her of killing the bird so that she could drink its blood. Toga says it isn't true. She found the bird already dead in the yard and this made her sad, but her parents are skeptical and they force her to undergo quirk counseling. The counselor says that this quirk counseling will make Toga normal. After all, deviations like this are common in children with strong quirks. But what does normal even mean? Seriously, what can be considered normal in a world where quirks are common and where so many people have become so radically different from the norm, and not just like psychologically, but on a biological and genetic level? The counselor still vows to remove Toga's deviances like they never existed, but if these so-called deviances are so closely connected to Toga's very biology, then what would be left of Toga if these things are removed? Who would Toga become? That is the fundamental question here. We see young Toga walking through the park, and she looks at how others express love and affection for each other. She sees a young couple holding hands, she sees a man playing with his dog, she sees kids playing and having fun. But these loving images are juxtaposed with everyone telling Toga that she looks like a deviant and that she has to be normal. This contradiction that she doesn't understand is beginning to drive her crazy. We see her biting her own fingers so hard that it begins to bleed. Things escalate quickly after that. We see Toga crying and yet smiling at the same time, with bloodstains on her hands. Her parents are freaking out and asking if she sucked the blood of one of her classmates. She says that the classmate hurt themselves and she just wanted to kiss it better, and she doesn't see what's wrong with that. Her parents tell her that this is not normal. Drinking blood is not normal under any circumstances. But Toga doesn't understand why that behavior is not normal because it's normal to her. It is in line with the nature of her quirk and the natural desires that come from it. So why is everyone telling her that something that comes naturally to her isn't normal? It's obviously hard for us quirkless individuals to fully understand this predicament, but if I understand things correctly, because of the nature of her quirk, Toga sees drinking blood as something perfectly natural, like drinking water. So when you tell her that she's a deviant, it's like telling us that we're deviants for getting thirsty and then drinking water to quench our thirst. It just doesn't make sense to her. However, there is of course an issue with this blood and water comparison. Drinking water to quench your thirst doesn't hurt anyone, but blood has to come from someone, and if you are drinking someone's blood, you are almost certainly hurting them in some way. Even though Toga finds this to be completely normal, society obviously can't normalize drinking human blood as an acceptable social practice, and this is the crux of the problem. As Toga recalls her parents saying that they gave birth to a demon child, something that isn't even human, the adult Toga in the present time sees a vision of Curious, that woman from the Meta Liberation Army whom she killed during the My Villain Academia arc. The illusion of Curious tells Toga that all this time she had been putting on a mask and suppressing herself while sweeping her true feelings under the rug. All this time, Toga has been attempting to become someone else while keeping her own true nature hidden away. As Toga is having this inner dialogue / mental breakdown, the fight between the clones and hero students is still raging. Ochaco attempts to get closer to Toga and Tsuyu. Jiro then sees Tsuyu falling and she rushes to grab her, but Kamui Woods, who already has the real Tsuyu, warns Jiro that that's not her. Jiro then looks up to see an evil clone of Tsuyu rushing at her, and as more Tsuyu clones and even Jiro clones begin to appear, the heroes realize what's happening. Toga's twice clones are drinking the blood that has been spattered across the battlefield, and they are using that blood to generate clones of the people whose blood they found. Since Tsuyu and Jiro were both injured, their blood was on the battlefield, and so they were both successfully cloned by Toga. The heroes and hero students are now being forced to fight not only an army of twice clones, but also clones that look like their own friends and comrades. And just like Jiro was initially tricked by the Tsuyu clone, many of the heroes will likely be tricked in the same way, and that one mistake could lead to their end in a matter of seconds. Things are looking bad for the heroes, and Toga is just as determined to exterminate all of them as ever. The real Tsuyu tries the same approach that Ochaco tried earlier. She tries to talk to Toga, and she says that at first she may have thought that being a hero just means following the rules all the time, but that's no longer the case. In fact, Ochaco's priority right now is not following the rules, it's trying to comfort Toga because it's clear that Toga is suffering. I mean, okay, sure, but Ochaco is also trying to calm Toga down in order to save the lives of all the heroes and hero students on the battlefield. If we're being honest, Ochaco's first priority is still heroics, not being Toga's friend. I get that Tsuyu is trying to persuade Toga here, but from the perspective of us readers, we gotta keep it real. Tsuyu says that Ochaco clearly isn't trying to arrest or kill Toga, even though that would be easier. Although it's a bit late, Ochaco wants Toga to hear her out, because maybe, just maybe, when they talk things out, they could be able to finally truly understand each other. But Toga isn't listening. As Ochaco flies through the air above the army of clones, Toga grabs her and stabs her through the abdomen with a knife. Even though Toga here just looks like another twice clone, I assume it's her because she was holding a knife earlier when she was still holding Tsuyu captive. Toga says to Tsuyu and Ochaco that they are just too different, because she has never felt the blessings and happiness that they speak of. Not even once. As Ochaco's own blood spills from her body and begins to levitate in zero gravity, including blood that is apparently coming from her mouth, Toga thinks back to when Twice asked her why she didn't pick out a villain name yet, and that is how this insane chapter ends. And wow, there is a lot to unpack here about Toga's character development, but first and foremost, we have to talk about this massive Ochaco twist. Ochaco looks like she was just severely injured by Toga. This could be, potentially, a fatal injury. I mean, yes, this is shonen and she could totally survive it, or some other shonen hijinks could happen, but Horikoshi clearly wants us to worry about Ochaco right now. If we want to be medical and scientific about it, the fact that Ochaco apparently has blood coming from inside her mouth suggests that one of her lungs may have been injured as well, which would make the injury even worse. But to be fair, manga doesn't often follow strict scientific rules when it comes to injuries. Horikoshi is clearly cooking something when it comes to the whole Toga situation, and Ochaco's injury was intended to show us that something serious is happening here. This is a serious situation. Based on what that illusion of Curious was saying to Toga in this chapter, and based on what Twice says to her about finally choosing a villain name, the implication is that as crazy and unhinged as Toga has been up to this point, she's actually been holding herself back this entire time. She still hasn't gone full mask off villain. She's still been trying to appear normal, at least to an extent. And if this is true, then I can't even imagine what kind of absolute chaos we can expect from a fully unfettered, mask off Toga. Like, what is about to happen now? Is she gonna, kill everyone in sight? Is she gonna start a cult? Is she gonna become an e-girl? The possibilities are endless and terrifying. And what is going to be her villain name? Something like Yandere Vampire Chaos Gremlin? Place your bets on Toga's villain name down in the comments below. Also, what is gonna happen to Ochaco now? Assuming the injury is real and not the product of Toga's hallucinations or some sort of clone shenanigans, how serious is this injury? How will Deku react when he finds out that one of his closest classmates and biggest supporters has been hurt so badly? How will this turn of events affect the war as a whole? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. You guys know the drill. If you enjoy our MHA videos and you want to see more in the future, leave a quick like right now. And if you're new to the channel, or maybe you watch our videos regularly, but you just haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, do me a big favor and subscribe right now. We're trying to push for 2 million subscribers here on the channel, which would be absolutely epic. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.